So let me read Genesis, the good book. And God blessed them. Well, first you have to go back. And God says, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Now, you know, this is interesting. Listen to how the Hebrew is written in the translation. And God said, let us make man in our image. What do you mean by us? What do you mean us? Who is he talking to? Who was God referring to? He said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness. He didn't say, let me make man in my image, after my likeness. It says, let us make man in our image. Us. Who is us? After our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. And, of course, he foresaw San Francisco, where the creepeth things would eventually take over. And in 27 of Genesis, it is written, and God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female, boys and girls, created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, here it comes, be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and etc., and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that creepeth upon the earth. And so there it is. And God says, I have given you every herb yielding seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and so forth and so on. And it says, and to every beast of the earth, and every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, he said, you shall have dominion. He meant dominion over the creeps in Austin, Texas, San Francisco, the Upper West Side of New York. And God saw everything that he hath made, and behold, it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day. And that's it. But the point here is that after Allah, you let them have dominion. And he said, and be fruitful and multiply is the point. So at a certain point, you're not supposed to even think about it. In other words, in my day, if a guy didn't get married and have a child, he was looked upon in a strange way. I don't happen to know one person amongst the guys that I grew up with who did not get married and have children. I don't say every marriage worked out. I didn't keep in touch with them. I don't know how it worked out, but it was a given. You met a girl by a certain age and you got married, or else your father, you know, whatever, your mother, something was wrong if you didn't get married and have children. That's the way it was. In other words, there was social pressure, which there should be. But now, no social pressure. So look what the children are. Take a look at them. No social pressure. Take a look at them. Take a look at what you have walking around the earth today. No social pressure. Oh, no, give him time. Give him time to grow up. He's 41 years old living with his mother. Give him time. You need social pressure. Everyone needs social pressure. That's what family is for, to cause social pressure on a child, so the child is molded into a human being. A decent human being, a civil human being, instead of an animal walking around, living for himself. An animal lives for itself. A human being lives for the family. That's the way we were raised. And what I just said to you, whether it's offensive to you or not, is the way 99% of the world thinks, particularly in traditional societies. They think the way I think. And I will tell you as I stand here right now, that people who are alien to me culturally, alien to me politically, agree with every word I just said about family. You don't even have to call to say it. I know it. I know when I strike a chord with people, because I know what people think, and I know how people think, and I know where you come from, how you think. Trust me on that. So what can we talk about? Are they worth it or not worth it? Well, it depends upon the child, I suppose. But why? And let's look at it from another point of view. Are children worth it? Let's take it another way. What do you think about women 60 having children? Zero, no good. Stop it. I don't go for that. I'll tell you another thing that disturbs me deeply. Fertility drugs. A great deal of the illness in our society, I know this is a very sensitive topic. A great deal of the illness in our society, children with sort of problems, and trust me, this is a very delicate topic for me, because my brother, they didn't have fertility pills, and my brother was born sick, and he lived a horrible life in a home and all of that. I saw the suffering and the suffering in the family. So things happen to people for other reasons that you don't control. But when you start adding fertility medication to children or people who can't bear, you have to ask yourself from an ethical point of view, should everyone have a child? There may be a reason why a couple is infertile. Maybe reasons that you don't know. Maybe reasons you shouldn't know. Maybe reasons that should be left alone and that couple should adopt children. There are certainly enough children on the earth who do not have decent parents who would love to have loving parents. Why should you give them fertility drugs? I'll be right back.
The fusion of entertainment and enlightenment. I'm Glenn Beck, weekdays, noon to 3 on Talk 910 KNEW.
Very interesting to me what's going on with this whole birther controversy. O'Reilly, the Blondie stone thrower, is refusing to have Joe Farah on from WorldNet Daily. They're all attacking Lou.dobbs. Lou.dobbs is not a talented broadcaster in radio. He's terrible, but he's good on television. And the left wants him thrown off the air. I told you once they came for me, who would they come for next? None of them came to my aid. So Lou.dobbs is getting what he deserves. They're all going to get it. O'Reilly's going to get it. They're all going to get it because they won't protect me. I told you they go after them one at a time. They came after me first. They wouldn't come to my aid, and now they're going after them one at a time, and it's all coming out of the Obama administration. The same way any other dictatorship operates is they take down the media that opposes them. You know, I watched this morning when that old hag, Helen Thomas, 89, and Obama comes out with a birthday cake, and he sits down next to her, and she coos. And you take a look at the news people behind Helen Thomas, and you say to yourself, oh, my God, what trouble we're in. They were all sitting there with their faces wide open with smiles and gawking. This is the Washington Press Corps, I said to myself. This is who we rely upon to be watchdogs over the socialist administration. These children, these idiots, these college morons are sitting there gawking over a cake that the president's shining on with them with the cake with Helen Thomas. Don't they understand what their job is in a free society? I said to myself, and I turned it off, and I went back and finished my breakfast. And the reason Dobbs is getting it now and not getting my support is because Dobbs did nothing for me. When they came for Michael Savage, you did not raise your voice because you hated Michael Savage. Eventually, they're going to come for O'Reilly. Then they're going to come for Wallbanger. I don't think they're going to bother with the hemorrhoid because he's too much of a fool for anyone to bother with. But they're going to come after the top guys who actually have a following of people who have brains and believe in them. The hemorrhoid's never going to have a following because he's such an obvious... Whatever, let it go at that. I don't have to put anyone down to have what I have. So, in the next couple of segments, we're actually going to have, what's his name on? I forgot already. I'm sorry. I'm drawing another moment here. Philip Berg, former Assistant Attorney General for Pennsylvania, lifetime Democrat, who I had on the show, 2 years ago, a year ago, about the birth issue, remember? I had him on before this started. I did this. And Berg is still active. And we're going to have him on shortly on the Savage Nation. So don't think I'm not into this, but here's my position. And you got to listen to me very carefully. Write this down, put it down on the internet, and get it right. Here's where I stand on the whole birther issue. I believe that the Obama administration is capable, even if Obama was not born in America. I don't know where he was born. But let's say he was born in Kenya. Let's, for argument's sake, take that position. This is the U.S. government you're dealing with. They print money. They print bonds. They can't produce a birth certificate anytime they want. They couldn't doctor one up that would be as authentic as your birth certificate if they wanted. They're playing the birthers for fools. And they're waiting for this to grow to such a point, at which point they're going to produce the actual birth certificate, either real or counterfeited, and they're going to undercut the entire birther movement and make the entire birther movement look like idiots. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't agree that he might have not have been born in America. I hope you understand what I just said to you. That's number one. But number two, the real subtext is not whether or not Obama was born in Indonesia or Kenya. The real subtext is he loyal to America. That's what the underlying question really is. And the reason millions of Americans ask that is because he does not appear to be loyal to America. Everything the man does or says, every act he tries to impose is un-American. What do I mean by that? All of his economics are un-American. They're all state-run. They're all centralized. Centralized economy is not American. It's not a free market economy. This country was built upon a free market, not upon a state market. That's number one. We are not a socialist nation. And yet you have radical leftist socialists advising Obama because he is one of them. So the real issue is he really loyal to America? Many millions of Americans don't think so. But I think that you're going out on a very, very, very dangerous limb by tying all of these questions to the birth issue. Because at the right time, the Chicagoans are going to produce a birth certificate that you're asking for. It will be irrefutably a birth certificate, and whether it's real or fraudulently created, you will not be able to tell. If they can print money, my friends, and they can print bonds, they can print a birth certificate that will meet any test whatsoever. And then what are you going to do? Tell me what you're going to do with months and years of labor on this limb. You're going to be cut off and fall off the cliff. So I would recommend to all of my colleagues on the right wing who are into this birther thing, be very careful, because you're dealing with a very clever group of people. And the real issue is Obama loyal to America? I think by his actions, you can ask that question and reasonably conclude no. His trips to Europe, where he apologizes for America, everywhere he went,